Hey everybody, and welcome to the OverMark podcast. Today's episode is jam-packed, but first I've got to introduce you to the man that makes it all happen. He's our enigma of editing, the powerhouse of production, the guy who takes our chaos and turns it into something worth listening to and watching. He's got more than 500 mounts in World of Warcraft and more MMA and wrestling knowledge than Ariel Helwani, and right now, he mostly just wants a sandwich. Let's hear it from my homie, the one and only TJ.
Well,
TJ?
that was cool. What's going on? Thank you for that wonderful introduction there.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for being here. You know, it's been a couple of days since our last episode, and yeah, it's exciting to be back.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend. You know, we went to the North Carolina Zoo yesterday. It's like the biggest like, I don't know the right way to put it, like outside zoo in the United States. It's pretty nice, whole bunch of stuff to do there. Yeah, it's pretty legit. It's like government funded and all that. And yeah, just watched the fights yesterday too. They were pretty good. I enjoyed multiple of them. The main event was something we'll be talking about here a little bit later. But beyond that, you do anything special or?
I had a little bit of car trouble. I worked on that. That was
right.
Not fun. I had a little bit of water in the old gas tank. Had to do the old pour-in deal, and seems to be a-okay now, thank God. So that's good. You know, a little bit of fresh gas, a little bit of pour-in, you're good to go. That pour-in that we actually told you guys about a few episodes ago. Yeah, that's
also,
it. But what's up?
Also today joining us is this guy. He's a little bit wiry right now, but my dog Rocky right here, he's real into wrestling too. Him and his brother Michael wrestle each other every day. And they've been watching wrestling.
He's a good boy.
They've been watching wrestling since they've been pups. But all right, go on ahead. I just wanted to show him off.
He's coming for your job and mine.
Oh no,
he's gonna take it.
I hope not.
But so today we got a whole bunch of stuff. We got SmackDown from August 15th, 2025, Collision from August 16th, 2025, which turns out was taped on the 14th. I had no idea that they did that, but okay. We got the news. We got a review of TMZ Presents The Real Hulk Hogan. We got the King of the Hill episode 3 and 4 review. You know, each Sunday we're talking about the episodes from the new season of that. So we're getting that in. And then we've got finishing up with some UFC 319 main event coverage that you won't want to miss. Speaking of not wanting to miss things, don't forget to follow us on all of our socials at OverMarkENT. Like, comment, and subscribe on all of our videos so that we can tap out old algorithm. Y'all have been helping us out quite a bit lately with that. We're super appreciative. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With that said, no, we're mad at you guys. But with that, we'll jump into SmackDown real quick, and I'm gonna toss it over to TJ. Would you want to do SmackDown, or would you rather do Collision?
I can talk about this. So it was on 8/15/25 in attendance. Tickets distributed of 12/101. They were set up for 12/7/04, so they're keeping the same trend that they've been having, where they almost sell out, and I'm sure it's even closer than that when all said and done with walk-ups and all that. But pretty impressive when you consider how much they're charging for all of these events. It's wild. It's like people can't
still
get
over
enough.
10,000 people every event too, just about. You know, unless the arena capacity is like 9,000 and something.
Yep. But so they were at the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. So we're gonna do the quick results here. We're just gonna run down this stuff. So it was Alexa Bliss defeating Piper Niven. This wasn't much to watch.
Man, Uh, just the Hervis, man. Like I love Chelsea Green, but not, I don't like Piper Niven or Alba Fire.
Yeah, there's not much going on there, is there?
No, I liked Alba Fire when she was a tag team with the other girl that they fired, but I don't know. Now she doesn't really do much for me.
I'm not sure if I was watching then or paying any attention. But we have the Miz and Carmelo Hayes, and they defeated Fraxium. Yeah, I'm already informed today. But the in ring in this was better than I thought it was. It started off kind of slow, but it wasn't that bad. I love their entrance, Fraxium.
Yeah, it's kind of entertaining.
What'd you think about the match?
Um, they're furthering the story of Miz and Mello and the cracks in the foundation of the Miz mentorship. So
Absolutely.
I guess that's cool. I assume probably not the next PLE, but maybe the one after that. We'll maybe start to see them in a match against each other.
I think
I don't
that's
know.
safe to assume that. It's definitely
Yeah.
going to happen. I mean, they're not doing this for no reason. They're not going to be goofy with each other until the end of time. But then we got the Street Profits, and they defeated DIY. The in ring here wasn't too bad either. I'm not crazy about DIY, so but yeah, not too bad. Not too great either.
These guys, yeah, they always wrestle good matches against each other. I'm not crazy about that. It does seem like Street Profits is starting to get over a lot more. You know, that arm thing that
Yeah,
the dude was.
yeah,
When we were watching, I messaged you when they were doing that, and the whole crowd, at least the whole camera side crowd, was doing it. And I was like, oh, okay, I think there might be something there. There's that many people doing it,
I
so
agree.
even though I'm not crazy about it, other people are. It seems like
And then Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu defeated Solo Sikoa, Tongaloa, and JC Mateo. Um,
that other guy was there too.
yeah, whoever it was, but this was a by the books kind of match. Nothing too crazy here, but the crowd really enjoyed it. So who am I to say anything about it?
Standard TV SmackDown main event. It felt like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And we'll jump to the highlights and low points. So mine was the beginning of Jacob Fatu and Sammy's relationship. So at the beginning, like Jacob didn't really want anything to do with Sammy, but then once he won on the match, they actually hugged. So they're gonna build towards that, and that should be entertaining. What about you?
That's kind of cool. I enjoyed all the King of the Hill stuff the whole night, all on the ring, all the graphics on the ring posts, and I don't know, it just wasn't that great of an episode for me. But I did like that stuff. Obviously anything to do with King of the Hill we'll like, but yeah,
Absolutely. And then my low point was Bliss versus Niven. It just wasn't a great match. Piper's not too great in my opinion, and just nothing really great occurred in this match.
I almost put that as my low point, but then I remembered that I'm pretty not crazy about Fraxium, even though their in ring is good. It's just yeah, could have been either one of those, but they Miz and Mello versus Fraxium got the choice on this one.
Yep,
Just is what it is.
I agree. And
Yep.
we can go ahead and move on to the rankings here, or ratings, whatever the heck we call it. And I gave it a 3. What about you?
Well, you actually ranked it lower than me, and you seemed like you liked it more. I gave it a 4. Maybe I was being generous.
Just because there was a little bit of decent matches here and there doesn't mean that I'm crazy about the people that were in it and the way that the show was positioned together to hold my interest. It didn't hold my interest very well. It wasn't a good TV show. You take out the wrestling aspect, just an overall TV show. It just the glue to hold everything together just isn't there.
Below average, yeah, at best.
Yep. Well, we'll go to something else that's below average, and that was AEW Collision. You want to talk to us about that?
Not particularly, but this is what we do the show about, so we're going to talk about it. No, I'm just
Oh, it's
kidding.
going to be fun.
So we have AEW Collision from August 16th, 2025 that was taped on the 14th. And again, didn't know that they had taped it on the 14th, but I discovered that when we were doing the show prep. They had attendance of 1,360, and they were set up for 1,535 with 175 available tickets at the Andrew J. Brady Music Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. Another one of those smaller venues that they've been running that
It was the same place as
doesn't
last week, right?
necessarily. I think
Or no, Wednesday.
maybe.
I mean Wednesday.
Yeah. That's they did Wednesday, Thursday. It doesn't necessarily look the worst on TV. Not as
No.
cool as the Chicago place that did the residency at, but yeah, still good.
Yeah.
We got some quick match results as always, and everybody's favorite, mine included, the Death Riders, consisting of Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta, defeated Jet Speed, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight. Man, I know I say this every episode, but I'm really tired of seeing these guys. And then they got both teams working against each other. So it's like a vortex of shit I don't want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't crazy about it either. It's weird. It's like Jon Moxley has this whole feud going on, and it's with Darby Allin, but for some reason they just keep pairing him against Jet Speed. Like, why? So is he feuding with them too, or is that just something to keep him busy on the show? But go ahead.
It's just goofy. I don't know. Ricochet defeated Ace Austin. This was a decent match, but nothing says burying a new guy like bringing him in and then jobbing him out.
Well, you know
Seems
what
to
they
be
call
Tony
this?
Khan's MO.
The
What's
Josh
that?
Alexander special.
Oh, yeah,
That
he definitely got that.
he's gonna set that's the blueprint for every TNA guy coming in now. They come in, they're hot from TNA, and then they make them lose night one.
Yeah, that does seem that way. Weird booking.
Yes.
And we got the Paragon of Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly defeating Christian and Lee Johnson. It was an okay match. I want to like Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, but I just feel like they're never gonna take a next step beyond where they are right now. Probably.
I think that's probably safe. I don't know. Roderick Strong, he was like real tan here. And Blake Christian and Lee Johnson, like Blake Christian's kind of newer there, but Lee Johnson's been in the same position. He's been almost the whole company, and you can just put whatever ROH title on him that you want. It doesn't really mean much, and I don't know. That's all I got to say about that.
ROH titles don't mean anything really. It seems like. But we got for the next match here, Kris Statlander defeats Julia Hart, Penelope Ford, and Anna Jay in the $100,000 four-way. Sounds more like some kind of adult film situation. But
Yeah, it
cool
does.
that Kris Statlander won.
Yeah. I don't know. Match was just kind of average.
They always do these $100,000
Junk.
matches or money matches. I don't understand why that keeps being a thing.
Yeah, he doesn't have any other ideas, so we'll just act like money
Yeah.
and there's some kind of. Why would I care about anybody else winning money? Even if it was real.
Makes no sense.
It does
But
not.
then we got the next match, which Juice, I can't talk for some reason. Juice Robinson defeated Brian Keith. Cool to see him back, and they were doing their standard Bullet Club entrance with the cardboard cutouts of whoever's injured. It's
I like
funny
that
that's
entrance.
it's really cool. It's been a running gag for a while, like even when the guys were healthy and they had all of them there. But it's funny with the cardboard things. I like that.
Yeah, same here. This was kind of just a match. I like Juice a lot, but not a lot to get excited about here.
Yeah. I think they're kind of just easing him back in. They're not giving him anything crazy to do. Shake off the ring rust. He's been back like 2 or 3 weeks.
Something like that.
Keeping him active. That ain't bad. And we had Nigel McGuinness defeating Daniel Garcia, Hechichiro, and Lee Moriarty in a confusing match of why you have one of your announcers beating 3 guys that you're trying to push in your company. But good for Nigel. I don't hate him, and I like him as an announcer. So cool that he got the W for him, I suppose.
Well, they're going to use this as a springboard for Daniel Garcia to turn on him, dude. But yeah, not nothing to see here.
Well, hopefully, yeah, never mind. Anyway, we're gonna do some high point, low point here, and my high point of the show was Statlander winning with the honorable mention to the Tony Storm promo. You always like Tony.
So I'd be lying if I was going to say that there was a high point for this show for me. But if I had to pick one, it would be Hangman versus MJF package, little video package show. But
Yep, that's fair.
that's about it.
Well, low point for old Dave here was having to suffer through almost this 2-hour show. It's one of the worst collisions that we've watched in recent memory, probably. And I don't know, maybe the Death Riders versus Jet Speed. I'm kind of tired of seeing that.
Yeah, mine
Feels
was.
like it's been a month.
Yeah, it has been ever since he stopped with the Hangman stuff. He's been going against these guys, but Daniel Garcia hinting at frustration and maybe a heel turn to me was the low point. 'Cause like uh, it's like Sylvester Stallone type acting. If he was like a 5-year old or something, it's like I don't even know. He's just looking back just that look. I don't know. I'm not a fan, but look,
No, he's
I
a
gave
goof.
I gave it a 2 ranking
Yeah, so
wise.
did I. Uh, really, really subpar and below average, I would say.
A lot of people
And
like this.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm not one
obviously,
of them.
like we say, the in ring is mostly good most of the time, but just this, I don't know. This episode's kind of goofy.
Yeah, it doesn't feature a lot of stars, and it's sad because they could be building these people if they were producing good television. But that's not the case, and I know that we do have a case, a news that we're going to be breaking down here in a moment. In a moment, with a couple segments. Hit that button, Dave.
Oh, geez, I'm on it. I'm on it.
And I got news for you.
All right, so since the Hulkster's passing here, there's been a lot of things that have been, occurring that he had his toes dipped in a little bit. And one of them just so happens to be Real American Freestyle. So we're going to talk a little bit about some ticket sales and promotion. So we got the date and the time is going to be Saturday, August 30th, 2025 at 7 p.m. The venue, well, that's the Wolstein Center at CSU in Cleveland, Ohio. The tickets distributed so far is a 1907, so they've gained 128 in the past week, so it doesn't seem like a lot of demand, but that's more than you'd expect. But this is the first event, and usually when tickets are that low at the first event, they would usually kind of go in this kind of direction. But yeah, their setup is for $27.92, so I guess overall that's not bad. And they have 885 left, and the cheapest tickets are $36.35. The total arena capacity is for 13,077. So they're gonna have a large curtained off areas and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess if they were doing better, they would open more up. But I'm sure that they were not expecting to do too great here. They got 16 days left to go as of this filming. And that kind of leads us into what we were talking about a little bit at the beginning, and that's Hulk Hogan's passing and its impact. So this show was clearly designed to ride on the patriotic wave of nostalgia, with Hulk Hogan's real American legacy being part of the branding. Hogan's recent passing adds an unavoidable emotional layer to the event. On one hand, it might boost interest, fans wanting to honor the man whose theme defined an era, and on the other hand, there's a risk that it feels opportunistic if not handled carefully. WWE and the wider wrestling world have leaned heavily into Hogan tributes since his passing, and the same atmosphere may help this show capture additional attention. The fact that it's Real American Freestyle, not just a wrestling show, but positioned as a crossover cultural event, means that Hogan's aura is baked into the very identity of the promotion, whether planned or not. So Kurt Angle's at the desk at this event, and that's another notable name tied to this. So he's serving as one of the analysts for the program, and Angle brings in both Olympic credibility and WWE Hall of Fame in his repertoire, I guess. His presence ensures that the broadcast doesn't just feel like a nostalgia trip, but it has an air of legitimacy and authority. With Angle on board, fans know that they're getting more than just a sideshow. They're getting serious commentary from someone who's both wrestled and won on the world stage of both kind of these platforms and this new little thing that they're doing. So Eric Bischoff is behind this as well, and his vision behind the curtain remains laser focused on making the Real American Freestyle a success. For Bischoff, this isn't just another project, but it's a chance to prove that he can still shape the industry. He's clearly trying to position this as more than just a one-off, but a property with growth potential. Bischoff has always thrived when the stakes are high and the competition stiff, and this feels like one of those moments where he's putting his chips back on the table. So the overall outlook of this, with the 1907 tickets distributed, the show has gained some momentum, though it still has a way to go. The small-scale setup of $27.92 shows organizers are keeping expectations realistic, but the Wolstein Center's full capacity of over 13K looms in the background as a reminder for both potential and risk. The combination of Hogan's legacy, Kurt Angle's credibility, and Eric Bischoff's drive gives Real American Freestyle an intriguing identity. The next 16 days will determine if that intrigue translates into a hot crowd and, more importantly, a sustainable concept moving forward. We'll see. They're going to have a tough battle here. I know Bo Nickal signed to him. He wrestles in the UFC, so it's or not wrestles. He fights in the UFC, so it should be pretty interesting how legitimate they may or may not actually be if they're letting him do another combat sport, I guess if you call it that. But I wish nothing for the best of him. But my expectations aren't very high for this.
Yeah, I'm keeping my expectations fairly low. No offense to anybody involved.
Yeah.
It just,
And
it's
Hogan,
even when Hogan was still with us and was fully involved, my expectations were fairly
Absolutely.
low, and I think that his passing most likely will be a hindrance to this in the long term, more so, than them being able to generate a number off of the first episode, probably. Yeah.
it costs a lot of money
Well,
to get a filming crew and production and a live feed out to TV and streaming platforms and all that. So I don't know. Good luck.
yep. And on that note, we're gonna jump into our next news topic here. We got WWE holds the option to purchase TNA Wrestling. How about that? A new report has revealed that major business clauses in the ongoing partnership between WWE and TNA Wrestling, potentially setting the stage for a seismic shift in the wrestling industry. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, so take that for what it's worth, the agreement between the two promotions not only cements their working relationship, but also grants WWE an option to purchase TNA Wrestling within a defined time frame, the right of first refusal on any outside purchasing offers, giving WWE the ability to match a competing bid and secure TNA itself. This type of deal mirrors WWE's past arrangements with several European independent promotions, where the company positioned itself to either cooperate or absorb the partner outright. What this means is the right of first refusal clause ensures that any buyer looking at TNA must effectively go through WWE first. This keeps WWE in the driver's seat regarding TNA's future, regardless of whether they choose to pull the acquisition trigger or not. Speculation has grown following reports that former UFC owner Lorenzo Ferreira had shown
Fertitta.
interest in TNA. If true, WWE's contractual leverage would make any outside deal incredibly difficult without their blessing. I hadn't really heard about that Lorenzo stuff before this. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Remember that him and his brother were the guys that started the UFC, and
Yep.
that was like Dana White's buddies from growing up, the Fertitta brothers.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. WWE's strategy. The Observer also notes that WWE's long-term plan may not be about an immediate takeover. Instead, WWE may see value in strengthening TNA as a cooperative number two promotion in the U.S., a move that keeps the wrestling ecosystem healthier while driving up the overall value of television rights in the industry as a whole. That'd be a pretty smart play. With WWE's NXT on the CW and TNA reportedly in talks for a new U.S. media rights deal, potentially with the same network, the idea of WWE quietly building a tiered wrestling structure with themselves at the top, TNA as a controlled alternative, is beginning to take shape. If this is true, then Bischoff's Real American Freestyle might not be the only big chess move happening right now. I don't know how big of a chess move that is, actually. I should
Not
have
much.
edited that out. Not at all. WWE having the power to either buy TNA or control who buys it is basically what makes them the gatekeeper of the entire North American scene. Either TNA becomes their AAA farm system, or AEW gets cut off at the knees. Yeah, I mean they're playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers, to steal a term from a lot of people that use that. Yeah, it's just. What do you think of all this?
I don't know. It's take it for what it is, because this is definitely a rumor, but I've seen other people start to report on it too, like Fightful, and usually they're a little bit more credible with some of the reporting that they may do most of the time, and not 100%, but nobody's gonna be 100%. But there's probably some legitimacy to this, but I'm sure either way TNA could do their own thing, and it would just forego the partnership that they have with WWE. So I don't think it's like the end all be all of what they may make it sound like it is. But in the end, I've even seen people say that WWE could be buying TNA. So I mean, that could be an option as well. And we'll just have to see what happens here. It's we've been covering it, and we've seen a lot of other people covering it too. But for some reason, $10 million seems to be this number that people want to buy TNA for. It's kind of strange, but I just don't know why 10 million. What set them on that number? But overall, I hope they get more than that. I hope they get 36 million, which is another number that I saw them throwing around, which to me sounds more realistic. No matter how you look at it, this is still a live sports package, and it does have a lot of history behind it. It's not like you're picking up, let's just say they sold AEW, and AEW lost most of its stars. You wouldn't have nearly as long as a backlog of footage with AEW as you would TNA. So at least that's something that they could have too, where maybe they get the footage. And I know WWE sure as heck would like a lot of that older footage too for somebody like AJ. But
Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, we
Bobby
shall
Roode
see.
works there backstage as a producer now. A lot of Chris Park.
Yeah.
Abyss.
Yeah. But we'll just have to see how this shakes out, and when it does shake out, we'll cover it and we'll let you know. But that being said, we're going to move on from this one here. And we got another report. It's WWE looking to counter AEW with John Cena's final match. So WWE may planning to counter program AEW's World End on December 27th at the Now Arena in Chicago by airing John Cena's farewell match on the same night. According to Brian Alvarez, Cena's last bout was originally scheduled for December 13th as Saturday night's main event. However, internal talks have shifted towards December 27th to directly oppose AEW's pay-per-view. Old Meltzer added that they wanted to move from the 13th of December to the 27th. That is certainly the story going around. Well, what's the story? Is he the one telling the story, or did somebody tell it to him?
That's the story that he was able to distill on down. I mean, anybody with a brain that covers wrestling could figure out that they would do something like that. They've been trying to run cards against everything that they do. So why wouldn't you do something like that?
Yeah, the strategy is said to be part of WWE's larger push to hurt AEW's media rights leverage while simultaneously elevating TNA Wrestling as the controllable number 2 promotion. Meltzer summarized WWE mindset. They just want this guy, Tony Khan, out of the box. If the numbers stay good, he's going to get a renewal at a much bigger number, and that would make AEW incredibly profitable. They feel the need to make sure this is the last contract. Well, I mean, even if I feel like worst case scenario is he gets the same contract. So there's never not going to be a last contract. How's that going to be the case? I got one thing that I can add to this after this that may add to that a little bit, but as previously reported, WWE is also positioning Cena vs. Brock Lesnar for September 20th, running head-to-head with AEW's All Out 2025. For now, Cena's next confirmed match is against Logan Paul at WWE Clash in Paris on August 31st, and WWE has not officially announced the December show or the timing of Cena's retirement match. But it's kind of funny when you think about it. So AEW doesn't have a lot of options to go to, at least in the U.S. So Netflix, WWE is working with them. Peacock, WWE is working with them. I think they might try to keep the Saturday Night Live stuff, or not Saturday Night Main Event stuff going. That way they still have a working partnership with them. They got USA. How many partnerships does they got? ESPN. How many places could WWE realistically go or AEW go that WWE isn't already at? WWE is so spread apart at all these big companies now that it's they literally have a contract with almost every big company. So I think they have to stay with Warner Brothers. And then what kind of negotiation leverage do they have?
Not much.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm trying to think of all the ones that they have right now. But I mean, they have 3 different media rights packages, and they're probably going to keep getting more. So they're working with these companies, and AEW's cut out even further.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Got anything to add? Or?
No, I think it's pretty well covered there.
All right, cool.
I don't never think other than that they'll never be going out of business until Tony Khan runs out of money.
Yeah. Not happening.
Well, speaking of news, we still got more, believe it or not. We have an update on WWE's Liv Morgan's return, or lack thereof. PW Insider Elite is reporting that Liv Morgan underwent medical evaluation this week as part of her recovery process. Excuse me. The internal hopes remain that Morgan could be cleared for return at the start of 2026. Those sources continue to stress that this is the most optimistic timeline. The Royal Rumble 2026 seems like the most likely target for her return, should progress continue as planned. WWE has not officially confirmed a timetable for Morgan's comeback. I would imagine that we'll probably be seeing her and Chad Gable both come back at the Rumble, even if it's for a limited amount of time in the match. That's usually when they have people come back as a surprise. You want as many surprises in the Rumble as you can get. The time that they went out, plus the timetable of what it takes to recover from those shoulder injuries that they both had, which are very similar, is about Royal Rumble time, mid to late January. So probably when we'll see him. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor, and I think women might heal a little bit differently from guys, good and bad. So hopefully she gets better soon. She keeps getting hurt, and I don't know. It's just bad luck, but I bet you they'd probably have her win the Rumble if she was 100%. They're like that confident on her and backing her and everything. So
Yep.
we'll see. Like I said, I don't have any medical expertise on any of this stuff. That does sound about right because that's what most people do. But everybody's a little bit different. With modern medicine and training and money, it can happen a little bit faster. So I'm sure she's working as hard as she can because nobody wants to lose that spot.
Nope.
Alrighty then. Let's move on to the next one, and it's an update on where WWE's library may wind up. So when the WWE Network launched in 2014, the archives of WWE, WCW, and ECW were a major selling point, but in recent years, live programming has consistently proven to be the stronger draw and easier to license to partners. With the Peacock streaming deal eventually expiring, there's still no official word on where WWE's vast library will land. Well, that and Peacock doesn't even have the full library available. According to Fightful Select, some within WWE believe that the company could lean into its ongoing relationship with Google and YouTube, using classic footage to reel in new viewers while staying prepared to cash in if a major outside bidder comes forward. Behind the scenes, WWE has already digitized nearly its entire vault, ranging from the latest episodes of Raw to forgotten shows like the 1990s Shotgun Saturday Night. The library is essentially turnkey and ready to move, depending on which direction WWE's leadership takes. So we were talking about that a little bit earlier. But, man, it sucks not having full access to that. I love that. You could just sit there and be like, you know what? I want to go through, like, all of 1996's Raw. And it was unedited on the network too. On Peacock, they edit stuff, they change it, they cut stuff out. So you may not be getting like the kind of original version of what you're even watching. It would be nice to have access to it again, and for not a lot of money. We'll see if that's something that ESPN has interest in, but it's just, I can't speak this. I don't think people go around shopping their content library a lot. Most of the time it's already snatched up by the company and they just take it to their new streaming platform. So it's different to have such a vast library because they make more content than most anybody else out there. I don't know, what do you think?
Definitely. Well, I can't believe that it's been 11 years, 2014. My God.
I was excited that day it launched, me and my
The
buddy
network,
Sam.
yeah, it was really awesome to have, and the streaming quality on it was good because it was based off of the MLB streaming framework. So like there was never going to be overload of the, I never got like crappy quality stream on it or anything. It was great. Even, we already had great quality internet by 2014, but it's just one-stop shopping. You literally, it was like almost option paralysis. There was so much to watch. It's like, well, what am I gonna watch? I don't know. There's too much to pick from.
Yeah, it's like when you have like a flash cart for like my Super Nintendo or like in N64. It's like you don't know what to play. You just have all these options, so you're just sitting there like.
Exactly.
But if I had to take a wild guess, you can do it too. Just uneducated wild guess, or maybe educated. I don't know. Where would this library end up? I think like
Probably
Netflix.
YouTube.
I feel like Netflix should be the one to pay them for this.
I would like for it to be, but it's I don't know how much more subscriptions it would drive to Netflix versus what WWE is already driving there. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah, I can't believe that Netflix didn't gobble up the PLEs, man. And then when that SmackDown runs out, they grab that too, and they could be the home of WWE. Maybe that
around the world.
maybe that tells you that it's not going as good as it's supposed to be, or maybe not. Maybe they're just riding. Maybe they just want to see how this goes for a while. They got them for like 10 years, and I think they have optional years after that too. So we'll see about that.
Yep.
But that being said, we're going to talk about this other little topic we got here, and it's Jim Ross, and he says that Shawn Michaels' overselling was a response to Hulk Hogan stealing the spotlight, which we've all heard this before. Whoa. So in a recent episode of Grilling JR's podcast, old JR revealed that the infamous SummerSlam 2005 main event between Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels, a match still talked about nearly 20 years later, brother, because of Michaels' over-the-top selling. So on the match itself, Ross praised the psychology and effort from both men, but admitted Michaels' bumps were distracting at times, dude. I liked the match overall a lot, but I thought that Shawn at times, with his selling and his bump taking, was a little bit over the top, dude. Which took away from the overall performance, brother. Both guys came in shape, and they had good psychology, dude. And Hogan did all the territory babyface stuff that he needed to do, including getting that color, brother. So on why Michaels didn't face punishment, Ross explained that Michaels had Vince McMahon's full protection, describing their relationship as almost father and son. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's what everybody's always said. Vince loved Shawn like a son. Vince had said to me many times, when I see Shawn Michaels, I see young Vince McMahon, defiant, contrarian, and hugely talented. That's what Shawn Michaels was. He had Vince's ear, and he had Vince's emotions. They were attached in that respect, and that gave Shawn many opportunities and breaks to win debates and arguments and creative issues over the years. Ross added that Michaels' infamous promo was the following night on Raw was influenced heavily by friends hyping him up, pointing out that he was easily manipulated during that point in his career.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't know about the manipulating part. I could see that, but I do know that that's why he oversold during that match. And Hulk Hogan, they were supposed to have another match, and I don't think that ever happened, did it? So,
No. Yeah. Well, I think they were supposed to do like 3 matches, and Hulk was going to go over in 2 out of 3 of them,
yeah. Well,
and they just had the one.
th-
He
th-
he pulled that doesn't work for me, brother.
yeah. Well, I'm sure it didn't. It's funny he talks about Shawn having like a father-son thing with Vince, but not enough to have Hogan job to him.
Right.
So it couldn't have been that tight. What if that's the case? What is like Hogan Vince's dad? He said, no, no, brother.
Well, maybe we'll find out a little bit more about Vincent Hogan's relationship in this next segment that we have here,
I think we
which is
will.
yeah, the review of the TMZ presents the real Hulk Hogan. There was a lot of these in there. And this documentary offers a heartfelt and intimate tribute into the late wrestler Hulk Hogan, we all know and love, blending candid interviews, personal reminiscence, and moments of raw emotion to capture the complexity of his legacy. One of the most striking segments features Vince McMahon. Did you obviously watch this? So you saw this part. This is the part I was talking to you about. Vince McMahon, who broke his long silence to speak publicly about Hogan's passing at age 71. McMahon refers to Hogan as a brother. So, see, that's why he had Shawn Michaels lose to him, because while he felt like he might have been the father to Shawn Michaels, Hogan was his brother.
Oh yeah,
Anyway,
dude.
expressing genuine shock and sorrow, calling his death a blow to my heart. The most emotional moment comes when McMahon recalls the iconic WrestleMania 3 match against Andre the Giant. After slamming and pinning Andre, Hogan whispered, "Thanks, boss," and Andre responded to him, "No, you're the boss now." Retelling the story, McMahon visibly choked up, and it served as one of the most powerful highlights of the special. Uh, yeah, you could tell he got a little choked up there. I liked that part. Yeah, I obviously watching that when I was a kid, so I was able to go right back to being little 4-year-old Dave watching that. Anyhow, the documentary also highlights the personal impact Hogan had beyond the ring. Charlotte Flair shares an especially touching story, recalling how Hogan was the first person to rush to her father Ric Flair's bedside during a severe health scare a few years back. Her words painted a picture of a man who, despite his controversies, cared deeply for his peers and his friends in the wrestling world. At the same time, the documentary doesn't shy away from difficult topics. McMahon addresses leaked racist remarks from 2015, calling them unforgivable and explaining how the WWE distanced itself at the time, only later reinstating Hogan after believing he had paid a meaningful price. WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry also appears, offering a dissenting but heartfelt perspective. He recalls feeling personally hurt by Hogan's words and suggests that making amends, perhaps through an outreach to historically black colleges, would have been a powerful
Thought.
though Hogan never took the advice. He was said that he was advised against that. Beyond those emotional and ethical reckonings, the documentary includes appearances by other wrestling legends and pop culture figures such as Sylvester Stallone, Mick Foley, and Jimmy Hart, who reflect on Hogan's cultural impact and enduring appeal. And obviously, Jimmy Hart was one of his best friends, so they you should watch this episode if you haven't. Overall, the real Hulk Hogan is more of a tribute than an investigative expose. It succeeds by humanizing Hulk Hogan through the eyes of those closest to him, giving fans insight into both his triumphs and his struggles, the emotional weight of stories, particularly the WrestleMania 3 recollection and Charlotte Flair's testimony about his loyalty to her father, elevates this beyond a simple retrospective, making it a moving farewell to a larger than life figure. I enjoyed this pretty well. I thought it was tastefully done. A lot of these things come off fairly exploitive, and I don't think that this one really did. What did you think about this special, TJ?
Um, I got some notes here actually. I thought it was interesting how like Goldberg, Hart, and Stallone like didn't believe the news at all at first,
Yeah.
and then who Foley was kind of disappointed with those that came out lashing out at him, which was cool to see him backing up for him because for a while there they weren't doing too good back in the day. And then
Right.
we've all heard this story before, but Stallone was talking about how Hogan was real gentle with him when they worked together. He was like super surprised about that. Um, when Hogan's kids would leave, he would cry, and Hart said that it tore him apart seeing the kids like that and Hogan, and it was real rough. And I can relate to that because I used to visit my dad during the summers, and when we had to leave each other, it was real
Yeah.
rough. And
He mentioned that about the Make a Wish kids as well. Like he'd be down there, like feeling the kids' arms, telling them they got big muscles and stuff like that, and then they'd leave, and Hogan would cry. And he'd tell Jimmy, next time that we come here, Jimmy, these kids they'll probably be gone. He's probably right, but stuff like that shows how big of a heart that he had.
yeah, and then the racist thing, when they were talking about Henry there, he's been kind of like staunch, like saying that, like talking more negatively about Hogan, I feel like than most people. But yeah, the college black tour thing was kind of funny because I can just imagine them both because he suggested that McMahon do it as well, right?
Yeah, that was never gonna happen.
Yeah, that's really funny. But overall, it's pretty decent, and they got that done quick, huh?
They probably had some of it in the can,
Yeah,
but I mean, you had to interview these people too. So I mean, yeah, they did get it done pretty quick. I don't know how much of that they actually could have had ready.
yeah. Well, they got Vince on there and recorded him real quick, and it's funny that Jim Ross says that like Vince looked terrible in this thing, and he kind of did. But I mean, he's aging, and he's not as active.
It's like
as
80.
Yeah, he's not as active as he used to be. So when people stop being active, it's when I feel like it's kind of they uh, start going downhill a little bit more. But he did back up Hogan saying that he didn't think it was racist. So take that for what it is from Vince. But that's probably about all I gotta add to that.
Good episode.
Yep. Well,
Well,
we got another
speaking of
review, brother.
episodes, yeah.
This is going to be we're doing this every Sunday till we're done the season. But I think they may have already ordered new ones. We'll have to see. But they're definitely going to. This has been the most watched animated show that they have done in the past 5 years, I believe. It's already made them $100 million in streaming ads. So they're doing this. Like, I guarantee you, they're going to order 24 next season. So this is going to be King of the Hill episode 3 and 4 review. So episode 3 really stood out as a highlight for the new season. Well, I can't say it 100% like that because I haven't seen the whole thing. It's a highlight so far. The episode balanced comedy, character development, and heartfelt moments in a way that feels true to King of the Hill. Bobby navigating the pressure of authenticity at his restaurant set up both the tension and the comedy, and his quick jab at a German cultural group. About keeping things pure was one of the sharper jokes of the episode.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, what made the story really shine, though, was the emotional payoff at the end. Closing early to use the last of the charcoal just for his family and friends showed Bobby's growth, while the scene of everyone enjoying the meal together captured the heart of what makes this show special. Hank's journey from stubbornly clinging to propane at the start to softening after his experiences at the museum to finally admitting Bobby's food was something worth celebrating was especially touching. His toast to Bobby brought everything full circle and gave the episode a warm, satisfying close. Overall, Episode 3 delivered a perfect mix of laugh, family dynamics, and meaningful resolution. It's the kind of episode that reminds fans why King of the Hill works so well, both as comedy and a heartfelt slice of storytelling. It was pretty cool how Bobby wanted to be authentic, would accept none less, and eventually realized that his wasn't actually authentic. It was authentic to him, not 100% to what he brought that from. So that was pretty cool. And Hank would have never accepted propane or charcoal back in the day, ever. So there's some growth there. I thought it was pretty cool. Here's a couple more notes. But Peggy with the Saudi Arabia, she just keeps pronouncing it wrong over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Bobby being accused of cultural appropriation. That was pretty funny. I thought Shane was kind of funny in this episode because he kind of keeps sticking his foot in his mouth. And then Peggy being like, "Do you want people to think you have two wives?" She doesn't talk, but it's I guess the couple lines that she has are kind of funny. But overall, I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know. I really enjoyed this episode. A lot of heart-warming moments, and they've been having a lot of those.
Yeah, they did a really good job with this one. And then when Peggy is kind of upset with Hank near the end, and she's talking about how she's upset with him because he was able to vent all that stuff to those strangers and then won't talk to her, and then the stuff that he talked to the strangers about was her stuff, and then he ends up opening up to her indirectly, and they have a good little heart to heart there at the end. It's stuff you wouldn't normally have seen from Hank and Peggy in some of the earlier episodes.
Oh, 100%. They've been doing a lot of that. Everybody's grown. But they're making Bobby Bobby's a really balanced person.
Yep. It's like Hank and Peggy did a good job raising him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you can kind of see the differences in Connie being a little bit more controlled by her parents and less balanced than him because of what her parents raised her.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
You want to do this next one?
Sure. We got episode 4, which is Chore Money, Chore Problems. This delivered another solid mix of humor and heartfelt moments. On a side note, Hank's obsession with staying busy led him into Boomhauer's handyman world, where he quickly dissolved that ratings aren't just about how well you hang a curtain rod. Discovered, not dissolved, by the way. They're about connecting with people. Watching Hank struggle with this new reality and eventually open up to Peggy about his fear of never feeling useful unless he's working gave this episode its emotional backbone. That was what I was talking about what happened at the end of episode 3. I confused that here. Their final conversation felt authentic and grounded, reminding fans while the Hill marriage remains one of the strongest in animated sitcoms. Like I said, this was that conversation that I was putting over pretty strong earlier. That was good stuff. Meanwhile, Bobby's side of the story was equally engaging. Seeing him navigate his feelings for Connie while trying to stay mature about their friendship showed real growth for his character. The karaoke scene was a highlight. Funny, sweet, and awkward in the best Bobby Hill way possible. The twist with Connie pushing him towards Ola added another layer, but Bobby ultimately making the responsible choice to walk away fit perfectly with his arc for this season. The episode balanced its dual storylines well, keeping everything on topic without losing its comedic edge. The quick jabs about Chain's obnoxious frat stories, Peggy's annoyance at being included in Hank's therapy style confessions, and Boomhauer's unseen recovery all added flavor without distracting from the main focus. Overall, episode 4 kept the momentum going for season 14. It was funny, heartfelt, and left the characters in a place where you're eager to see what happens next, especially with Bobby and Connie's evolving dynamic, and Hank slowly learning that being useful isn't just about work, but about opening up. I mean, it keeps getting kind of better each episode. I won't say that this episode is necessarily better than the other episodes, but I just they're doing a really good job with this, way better than what I had expected or could have even hoped that they were going to do. So
Yeah,
looking forward to the next episodes.
it was pretty good, and this was more, Hank and Peggy stuff, kind of like figuring out his emotions and how to deal with her. Um, Bobby and Connie are pretty cute together. They're figuring their thing out. But right now, I feel like Bobby's too good for her. And it's funny. Hank, not wanting to give 5 bananas or anything, and he gave them bananas.
Yep.
So far, I've given King of the Hill 5 out of 5 bananas. I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah. So far, 5 out of 5 bananas. That's a fair assessment.
Yep, great episode. Bobby again, just a really balanced guy, super nice, and everybody's learning. And it's funny seeing like Boomhauer, Hank let him down and got the bad bananas because the thing that was getting Boomhauer the bananas was talking to people, and it's just funny.
The lady's talking to Hank about her vibrator.
Yeah, I broke it. All right. We're gonna move on from the King of the Hill review, and we're gonna do a little bit of MMA talk. So this is on the UFC 319 main event recap, Chimaev's dominance. So at UFC 319, it was held August 16th, which as a recording, that was last night at the United Center in Chicago. That's the house that Michael built. So Kazmat Chimaev dethroned Dricus du Plessis to become the new UFC middleweight champion via unanimous decision, 50-44 across all judges. A dominant performance from start to finish. I feel like the scorecards weren't generous enough. There was more. So the 10-point must system gives people the winner 10 points and the loser 9. If they really dominated it, it gets the loser 8. So that would actually end up being like 50-40. At best, it was like 50, like 41, 42 or something. But yeah, he dominated this fight. He overwhelmed du Plessis with relentless grappling, securing multiple takedowns and maintaining top control virtually the entire fight, even if a finish slipped away. Striking stats were jaw-dropping. Chimaev landed 529 strikes, while du Plessis managed just 45.
Almost more than 10 times more.
Well, it's funny though, these strikes, they weren't crazy hard. They were like ground strikes, and he had them in a crucifix, and he was just kind of like hitting them, so they didn't count as significant strikes. So this is like the biggest
Just pepper at him.
So this is those are just total strikes. So this is the fight where it had the most total strikes in a fight overall, and then it had the biggest amount of significant strikes to total strikes, which is the significant strikes was only like 20 something, which is kind of ridiculous. But in the cage, du Plessis had no answer, only a brief surge in the final round that didn't shift momentum. And at the post-fight press conference, Chimaev kept it simple. He said, "Get my money. The belt is important for my country. I never game plan. Just go in and work." I find that hard to believe. But yeah, I expected Kazmat to win, but not the way the fight played out. And our little video we did before this, where I'm talking about my prediction, I basically thought it would last way shorter. But beyond 30 seconds near the end, Kazmat completely schooled DDP. He took him down at will, controlled him, got in a crucifix multiple times. The question if Kazmat can go 5 rounds really isn't there anymore. He's obviously the best middleweight on the planet right now, and there's a chance he could be the champ at 170 and 205, depending if he wanted to move down or up, because he's fought at 170 a lot. So the sky's the limit for this guy. Hopefully he stays busy, because he doesn't fight as much as some other guys. What we witnessed last night was something special. It was one of the most dominant victories over a champ ever. So strap in for a while because Kazmat is going to have this belt until he loses interest or moves to a different division. A lot of people thought that if this fight was boring because it was mainly grappling, but I thought the fight was anything but boring. I love watching guys outclass other people with grappling. Overall, it was a really enjoyable event with lots of awesome finishes that capped off a historic middleweight title fight. And I don't know what to tell you guys. If you don't like this, just you probably shouldn't be watching UFC because it's a big part of this stuff. Yeah, it was an awesome fight. And like they were talking a little bit of trash before, but afterwards they were really respectful and cordial to each other. They both class acts, and I really like seeing that a lot. And I just don't see anybody beating Kazmat at any weight division for a while. It's pretty much about the end of that awesome event, and pretty good stuff. I know you didn't watch it because it was on at 2 a.m., but I'm sure you've seen some highlights. Pretty nuts stuff. Huh?
Oh yeah, I made sure to at least watch the highlights of the fight. It is very impressive. I mean, I had no idea that Kazmat was that guy like that. I thought that the fight was going to be a lot more competitive than it was, but I'm also fairly lapsed when it comes to watching some of this stuff, so it was a good fight to get back into it on. The good card in general to get back into it on. There was a lot of exciting knockouts, good fights.
Yeah, it was funny.
Maybe UFC is going to be back a little bit, and with the new ESPN deal, it's going to be a lot of, or not ESPN, Paramount Plus. I'm sorry, it's going to be a lot easier to watch all this stuff. So I'll be a lot more motivated to have it on.
Yeah. Overall, though, it's pretty nuts event because there's only been like 9 spinning elbows knockouts in the UFC history, and they had 2 of them last night, so it made 10 and 11, and they were back to back. It was funny. It was in the co-main event and the fight before that, so that's historic in its own too. I wonder if that's ever going to happen again. 2 back-to-back spinning elbows.
Probably not. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, but overall, I'm really looking forward to Kazmat's next fight. I hope they get him somewhere quick. He was saying that they might try to get him in that Saudi Arabia or whatever the next time to go to UAE, so that would be interesting. But we'll talk about the next pay-per-view when it happens, unless there's an event that I feel like the main events weren't talking about before then. But we're just trying to get something that we like, or I and Dave likes talking about, and will generate interest. So if it's something that people may not know about, it will be tough to generate interest with that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
it's funny. Did you see the, obviously afterwards, I think McGregor, I think it was McGregor that congratulated the guy, and then Nate Diaz was like, "Oh, can't fight," or something like that. Yeah.
Nate Diaz was actually supposed to fight Kazmat, but Kazmat got sick that week and lost, didn't make weight, so they ended up switching him like a fight, and Nate was supposed to fight Kazmat, and then Tony Ferguson was supposed to fight Kevin Holland. Well, they switched it up, and Nate fought Tony Ferguson, and then Kazmat fought Kevin Holland, and Kazmat submitted him in a minute 30, I think, and then Nate completely dominated Tony. But if they would have fought that night, there's no doubt to me that Kazmat would have probably finished Nate in under 5 minutes.
You think?
Absolutely. Kazmat's Nate's natural 155er. Kazmat's 6'2", when he's not cutting weight, he's 200 pounds. He's way bigger than him. And Nate's always had trouble with really strong, top-heavy grapplers. I just don't see a world where, especially Kazmat at the time, he was fighting really recklessly and aggressive. And Nate just physicality isn't something that he would deal with very well.
So one last MMA thing before we get on out of here. What's going on with Nick Diaz? I remember he was going to fight, and then there was some kind of thing that happened, and then
the last I heard about him, he was outside of some building in California trying to light grass blades on fire, and then somebody was recording him, and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Get out of here!" What? He was all mad that they were recording him, and they're like, "Is everything okay?" But I'm pretty sure he's doing some pretty heavy drugs right now, the ones that start with M. It's sad because Nick was a better fighter than Nate. He had more tools, a little bit bigger, crisper boxing, better ground game. He just had a lot of problems with depression and drug use, and it's just a shame because he's one of my favorite fighters of all time, and I wish him nothing but the best. I saw his girlfriend. She was the one that was kind of commenting on some of the problems that he had online, and that's really all I can say about that. I don't want to go stretching too much on something that I
Oh,
may
well,
not know about.
I did find some recent news here. It looks like his conditioning coach shared some positive news here. It says that the Stockton fighter is doing exceptionally well. It looks like he had attended a rehab facility in
Good.
Mexico. And unintended thing here, but we're going to talk about this real fast. It's back in January 2025, he entered rehab and met with a lot of positive sentiment from fans. There were some troubling claims that saying that he'd been forcibly taken to the facility. I don't know about that. But they say that his coach says that he's doing exceptionally well, and he's finally overcome the challenges that previously affected him. Throughout his struggles, Nick's family and genuine friends offered unwavering support, while others claimed to care for him ultimately took advantage of his situation. Fortunately, Nick is now in optimal health and high spirits, thanks to, in part, of the positive influences of loving partner who values him for who he is, beyond his fame or material possessions. So that's good, according to that guy, he's doing well here. So that's good. His That's his conditioning coach, Jose Garcia.
Oh yeah,
You know,
he was that kind of overweight guy that you'd always see with Nick and Nate at their fights. He was their boxing coach since they've been kids, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, they're I'm big fans of both of them. I'm glad that Nick's doing okay. His fights against like Frank Shamrock and BJ Penn and Cyborg.
the fight against Daly and Strikeforce
Paul
for that
Daly.
title they were just throwing bombs. That's one of my favorite fights of all time.
Him and Robbie Lawler the first time. There's so many good fights. Him and Takanori Gomi, him and Anderson Silva. He fought GSP.
He came back and beat up BJ Penn after he came back from Strikeforce.
Yeah, he fought in Elite XC there too. He's literally fought just about everybody. But I think that being said, we'll do some updates with him too if we see anything good, because we're both big fans of him. But I think that
that news was literally from like 2 days ago.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. We got a little bit of update news. So I think that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up. We had fun with this one. We're gonna be back here Thursday, where we're gonna be talking about Raw and Dynamite. We're gonna have news. We're gonna do our WWE Unreal Episode 4 recap. That being said, check out our social media. It's at OverMark ENT. We got it slapped over all our stuff, so if you ever need to know what it is, there's a good chance if you're watching our stuff, you've seen it. Yeah, we got our little logos. We're figuring out our branding and all that kind of stuff. It's something we're having fun with going along the way. If me and Dave didn't have fun doing something, we probably wouldn't do it. But it's been fun with the comments and the channel growing lately, and we appreciate anybody watching. You just gonna hear me ramble and hear the same stuff I say every time. We appreciate you guys. I appreciate you, Dave. I'm gonna get out of here. You sign off, Dave, and we'll get on out of here.
Thanks for listening, Overmaniacs. Much love, TJ. We'll catch you guys next episode.
Peace.
DJ's yelling at a gift, Dave's eating crab. We skipped our bills to watch Raw live and ranked 800 wrestlers just to survive. Our muscles are fake, our takes are loud. We booed a toddler for chanting too proud. So tune in next week, or don't, we'll still shout. Two grown